The battlefield was silent now. The smoke floated slowly over the broken ground. Dead bodies lay everywhere, both human and alien. Metal pieces from destroyed tanks and flying drones were spread across the land like scattered bones. Blood mixed with the dust. Fires still burned in some places, their orange flames flickering like weak memories of violence. Captain Jurin moved slowly through the ruins. His uniform was torn, his face covered in dirt and ash. One of his gloves was missing, and his left hand was bleeding. But his eyes were sharp, cold, focused out. He was the only survivor from his squad. The attack had come fast. The Varelians, a species with purple skin and sharp eyes, had ambushed their position just before dawn. They moved like shadows, quick and deadly. His team fought hard. They gave everything. But it wasn't enough. Now, Jurin walked alone through the wreckage, holding his rifle tight. He had orders to sweep the area and kill any survivors. No prisoners, his commanding officer had said. Show no mercy. He was ready to follow that order. Until he saw her, under a collapsed section of wall, half covered by broken metal and stone, lay a body not human. The purple skin was a clear sign. It was a Varelian soldier. Jurin raised his gun instantly. But then, he paused. She was alive. Her chest rose slowly, struggling for each breath. Her armor was damaged. One of her arms looked broken, blood covered. Her legs, but her eyes were open. And they looked at him. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just stared at him, silent. Jurin's finger tightened on the trigger. He had seen too many of his friends die because of them. He remembered. His brother's last words burned into his mind like a brand. The Varelians had taken everything from him. And now, one of them was in front of him, defenseless. It should have been easy, one shot. But something in her eyes stopped him. There was no hate in them, no fear either. Just pain, exhaustion. Something else. Something almost human. Why aren't you screaming? He asked quietly. She didn't reply. He stepped closer. The barrel of his gun was just inches from her face. She blinked slowly, like she accepted death. But still, she didn't scream. Jurin stood still for a long time. His breath was heavy. His mind raced. This wasn't a trap. She was really hurt. She couldn't move. She could barely breathe. Killing her now wouldn't be war. It would be execution. He lowered his weapon. Damn it, he muttered. He looked around. No movement, no drones, no eyes watching, at least none that he could see. If he wanted, he could leave her here. She would die in a few hours anyway, but instead, he bent down. With effort, he pulled away the rubble covering her body. She gasped in pain but didn't fight. Jurin lifted her carefully. She was lighter than expected. He carried her to an old bunker. Nearby, half destroyed, but hidden well beneath the earth. It had once been a Varelian outpost. The humans had taken it during the last wave. Now it was mostly forgotten. Jurin had used it once for shelter during a scouting mission. No one would think to look here. He laid her down on a dusty metal bed. She coughed weakly, blood on her lips. Her armor made strange sounds, energy systems failing. He pulled off her helmet and saw her face clearly for the first time. Young, maybe his age, small scars across her cheek. Short dark hair, eyes a glowing violet. She looked at him again, still. No words. Jurin shook his head. This is a mistake, he whispered to himself. For the next few hours, he did what he could. He used his limited medical kit to stop her bleeding. He gave her water, just a few drops at a time. Her wounds were serious but not fatal. He didn't know why he was helping her. She was the enemy. Maybe he was just tired of death. That night, he sat near the bunker entrance, rifle on his lap. He kept his eyes on the entrance, but his ears open toward her. At one point, he heard her whisper something. A word in Varelian. He didn't understand it. She spoke again, this time in broken galactic standard. Why? Jurin turned to her. She looked at him with those strange glowing eyes, Why? You help me? She asked. He didn't answer for a while. Then finally he said, because I'm not like you. She blinked slowly and then smiled just a little. The next morning, Jaren went out early to search the nearby ruins. He needed more supplies, bandages, food, clean water. The battlefield was still quiet. A few scavenger drones moved in the sky, collecting tech. He avoided them. He found a broken medbot and managed to remove a working stim pack. It wasn't much, but it would help her recover faster. He also found rations from a destroyed Varelian supply, case-hard biscuits, and protein jelly. When he returned to the bunker, he found her sitting up, weak, shaking. But awake. She looked at him with surprise. You come back, she said. Jaren nodded. He handed her food. She ate slowly, carefully. He sat beside her, not too close. What's your name? He asked. She looked down, then spoke softly. Kira Valtor. Jaren nodded once. Captain Jaren Cross. Silence followed. Outside, the war still raged. But in that bunker, something strange was growing, a fragile peace. That night, something unexpected happened. Jaren fell asleep. For the first time in days, he let himself rest. He had locked the outer door, set a tripwire at the entrance, and placed his rifle nearby. Still, he closed his eyes, and while he slept, Kira stood up. Her legs were weak, but she moved slowly, carefully. She looked at him, sleeping, vulnerable. Her eyes scanned the room. She saw his knife on the floor. She picked it up. The blade felt cold in her hand. She walked toward him. Stood over him. His chest moved slowly. He was deep in sleep. She raised the knife. Her hand trembled. Then she looked at his face, and something inside her cracked. She dropped the knife. It hit the ground with a soft clink. Jaren woke instantly, hand grabbing the rifle. He looked up and saw her, unarmed. Kira took a step back, hands raised. I didn't, she said softly. He looked down at the Tico knife, then at her. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Jaren asked, why didn't you? Kira's voice shook. Because I owe you. And maybe not all humans are monsters. He didn't lower the gun, but he didn't fire either. The next day, the mood was different. Jaren still kept his guard up, but something had shifted. Kira tried to help. She cleaned her wounds. She tried to stand without help. She asked questions about Earth, about humans, about why Jaren saved her. He didn't have answers. He only said, I'm tired of killing. And she nodded, I'm tired of obeying. That night, Jaren sat outside the bunker. He stared at the stars. He missed his squad, missed his brother, missed the person he used to be. Inside, Kira watched him through the small cracked window. She didn't understand him, but she wanted to. Far above, in orbit, a small human scout drone flew silently. It passed over the battlefield, scanning for signs of life. Its sensors picked up heat signatures in the bunker. It zoomed in and recorded something strange. A human soldier, sitting outside a bunker, and inside, a living VIREL, la drone. Watched for a few minutes. Then it turned and flew away, back toward command, with footage that would change everything. The fire in the bunker burned low. Captain Jaren sat near the entrance, watching the flickering flame. Outside, the wind howled over the battlefield ruins. Inside, silence lived between two enemies who no longer felt like enemies. Kira sat on the fire edge of the metal bed, her arms wrapped tightly around her knees. She had not said much since the night before, since she had held the knife and dropped it. Jaren hadn't spoken either, but both knew something had changed. He had seen her hesitate. She had seen his trust. Now, there was a strange, invisible thread connecting them, thin, fragile, but real. The next morning, Jaren woke up early. His back ached from sleeping against the wall. He rubbed his eyes and reached for his rifle. Habit. Then he looked around. Kira wasn't on the bed. He jumped to his feet, instantly alert, but then he saw her. She was just outside the bunker door, sitting quietly on a broken rock. The morning sun painted her violet skin gold. Jaren lowered his weapon. He walked to her slowly. "You're not supposed to go outside," he said. Kira didn't turn to him. "I needed air. You could have been spotted," she shrugged. "Maybe I wanted to be." He sat beside her, careful to keep some distance. They sat quietly for a moment. No sounds except the wind and the far-off hum of patrol drones. Then Jaren asked, "Why didn't you kill me?" Kira didn't answer right away. "I could have," she finally said. "I know. You were sleeping. No armor, no shield, knife in my hand. I trained for it." "Then why didn't you?" She took a deep breath. "Because I didn't want to." "That's not an answer." "No," she said. "It's not, but it's the truth." Jaren looked at her, eyes searching. "Varelians don't show mercy. And humans don't." "Take prisoners," she replied. He smirked. "Touché." Later that day, Jaren worked to improve the bunker's defenses. He set up tripwires at both hidden entrances, checked the old motion sensors, and placed traps where the terrain allowed. He wasn't sure how long they'd stay here, but he knew someone would eventually come. Kira, still weak, insisted on helping. She sorted the remaining supplies, organized the medical kit, and even cleaned some of the old Varelian tech left in the bunker. As she worked, she found something, a small metal cube with a flickering green light. "Jaren," she called softly. He came over and looked at it. "What is it?" "Data core," she said. "Old one. Might still work." "Yours?" "No, probably from the first invasion. I can try to open it." He nodded. "Do it." Hours passed. Kira connected the data core to a half-broken Varelian tablet. Sparks flew. The screen blinked. Then, images appeared. Old footage, holograms, battles, cities burning, humans running, Varelians laughing. Kira stared in horror. One image stopped her. Cold. A man tied to a pole, being burned alive by a Varelian squad. The commander in the video gave the order. His voice was deep, confident. "Cold." Kira whispered. "That's my father." Jaren looked at her, surprised. "He was a general," she said. "He died years ago. I didn't know. I didn't know he did this." She turned away from the screen. "They told me humans attacked first. They told me we were saving our worlds." Jaren said nothing. She wiped her face. "Not with pride, but shame. All my life I thought we were right," she said. "Now I don't even know what truth is anymore." Jaren looked at her. "That's how I felt the first time I saw a child. A Varelian child dying in my arms." That night, something changed between them. They shared food. Not in silence, but with light conversation. Kira asked about Earth. Jaren told her about oceans, about rain, about trees that turned red in the fall. She listened like someone hearing about a dream. Then she asked about music. Jaren smiled. He pulled a small device from his pocket. A music chip, old but working. He played a soft human melody. Piano, strings, a woman's voice singing in a language Kira didn't know. She closed her eyes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Jaren nodded. "I used to listen to it with my brother," he said. "The one you lost?" She asked. "Yes, Varelians killed him." "I'm sorry," she said. For the first time, it sounded like she meant it. Far above them, in space, the human scout drone finished transmitting the recorded footage. The signal reached Command Base 9 in orbit. Inside, General Marcus Crail watched the video in silence. He saw Jaren carrying the Varelian, feeding her, sleeping beside her, talking to her. "Captain Cross has gone rogue," the general said coldly. "What are your orders, sir?" the aide asked. General Crail stared at the pause screen. "He's helping a Varelian officer. That's treason." "Yes, sir." "Send a kill team. Quiet. Small unit. No radio chatter." "Yes, General." Bring me proof when they're both dead. 2 nights later, Jaren was outside the bunker. Watching the sky, the stars blinked like tiny eyes. The war still raged across planets, but up here, for a moment, it was peaceful. Kira came to stand beside him. You know they won't let this go, she said. I know. They'll come for you. And you, she looked at him. So why are you still here? He didn't look away from the stars. Because mercy is a choice, he said. And I've made mine. She didn't reply, but she reached out and took his hand. Miles away, in the shadows of the hills, 4 human soldiers moved quietly. Elite Black Ops, trained for stealth. One carried a sniper rifle. One held a flame cannon. They moved like ghosts. They found the bunker. They saw the heat. Signatures. They smiled. Inside, Jaren and Kira were talking softly. She said, "If you had killed me on day 1, would this be easier?" "Yes," Jaren said. "But I wouldn't be human anymore." Outside, the sniper took position. Crosshairs settled on Jaren's head. Finger on trigger. Breath held. But then a shot rang out. The sniper fell. Neck bleeding. Kira stood behind him, holding a small Varelian sidearm, her body shaking. She had sensed them. She had followed the sound. She had saved him. Again. The remaining soldiers. Attack. 1 was caught in Jaren's trap. A wire pulled, and an old turret burst from the ground, shooting fire. The other 2 charged in. One threw a flash grenade. Light exploded. Jaren rolled across the floor, grabbed his rifle, and fired blind. Kira tackled one attacker, smashing her elbow into his jaw. The fight was brutal. Fast, real. In the end, only Jaren and Kira stood breathing. Jaren limped over to her, blood on his face. "You okay?" She nodded. "You? I will be." They looked around the bunker. Damaged, broken, exposed. They couldn't stay. As dawn broke, they prepared to move. Kira found a hidden tunnel. Old Varelian scout path, half buried but still usable. They packed what they could carry. Jaren paused near the bunker door. He looked back once. "I was ready to die here," he said. Kira touched his arm. "Now you're ready to live." They disappeared into the tunnel. Behind them, the human command scanned for signals. They found none. General Krail received the report. Kill team lost. No response. Likely eliminated. His face hardened. "Send more." "But sir, send more." But he didn't know that now it was more than just one human and one alien. Now it was a question, a crack in the wall. A silent rebellion had begun, and it started because she didn't kill him when she could. The rain fell hard over the hills. It washed away the blood, the bodies, the fire, but it couldn't wash away the memory. Captain Jaren's breath came in short gasps. Mud stuck to his boots. His side bled through makeshift bandages. Kira walked beside him, limping slightly, her arm around his shoulder. Both were soaked, tired, and quiet. They had escaped death once again. But they both knew they were now targets of 2 armies, not just enemies to each other's sides, enemies to everyone. They reached an abandoned transport station hidden in the bush valley. Once used by traders before the war, it now stood broken and silent. Moss covered the outer walls. Inside, it smelled of rust and cold stone. Jaren checked the scanners. No signals. No drones. Safe for now. Kira found a corner, sat down, and closed her eyes. Her face was pale. She hadn't slept in 2 days. But she refused to fall apart. Jaren crouched beside her. "You should rest," he said. "And you?" she asked. "I'll keep watch." She shook her head. "You'll fall over." Jaren gave a tired smile. "Maybe." She looked at him for a moment, then leaned her head against the wall. "Wake me if death comes," she said softly. He nodded. "You'll hear it coming." Far above the planet, inside Human Command Base 9, General Marcus Krail stood in front of a massive screen. A red dot blinked on the map. Jaren's last location. Send in Ghost Squad. Krail ordered. Sir, the tech officer said, we already lost one kill team. The Ghost Squad isn't a team, the general said. It's a message. The officer swallowed nervously. Understood. Within minutes, the order was delivered. A new group of elite soldiers. Prepared to launch. They wore black armor, no names. No insignias. Only a symbol, a silver skull over crossed lightning bolts. They were called ghosts. For a reason, they left no one alive. Back at the old transport station, Kira opened her eyes slowly. She felt a strange pressure in her chest, a sense of something wrong. She stood and looked outside. The wind was quiet. Too quiet. Jaren noticed her tense body. What is it? He asked. Something's coming, she said. You're sure? She nodded. I've felt this before. When ghost units were sent to hunt my people. Jaren's face hardened. Then we need to move. They gathered what little they had left: rations, a stolen plasma pistol, and a single portable scanner. Kira moved quickly despite her limp. Jaren held the rifle close. They exited the station and started up the mountain trail, hoping to reach a forgotten comms tower. From there, maybe they could jam the tracking signal on Jaren's ID chip. Time was short. Too short. At the edge of the forest, the Ghost Squad landed. 6 black armored soldiers. No words. No mercy. They scanned the ruins of the transport station. One found the footprints. The leader nodded once, and they followed. As Jaren and Kira moved through the forest, the rain turned to fog. Trees became shadows. Every step was a risk. Then Jaren stopped. He heard it. A soft clicking. Too mechanical. Too perfect. Kira, he whispered. They're here. She didn't speak. Just moved behind a tree, pistol raised. Seconds later, red laser dots appeared through the mist. 6 of them, dancing across trees and rocks. Jaren fired first. Shot hit nothing. The ghosts spread like shadows, silent and deadly. One dropped from a tree behind Kira. She rolled aside. Firing twice. Missed. Jaren tackled the attacker, slammed him into a tree, and pulled the mask off. Underneath, the man had no emotion. His eyes looked almost empty. A blade flashed. Jaren ducked, rolled, and fired at point blank. 1 ghost down. 5 left. The fight was brutal. One of the ghosts used a sonic grenade, shattering the trees nearby. Kira screamed in pain, her ears bleeding, but she didn't fall. She aimed and fired 3 shots. Another ghost dropped. 4 left. Jaren grabbed a stun mine from his bag, activated it, and threw it near a cluster of trees. The explosion sent 2 attackers flying. He shot 1 mid-air. 3 down. 3 to go. But 1 came from behind and stabbed Jaren in the back. He dropped to 1 knee. Kira saw it and ran toward him, screaming in rage. She jumped on the attacker's back, biting his neck, stabbing him again and again with a broken blade. The ghost collapsed. Now only 2 remained. They regrouped. Smarter, faster, they circled Kira and Jaren like wolves. Kira whispered, "We can't win this." "I know," Jaren said, "but we can make it hurt." Suddenly, a loud beep came from Kira's bag. The scanner. It had picked up a signal. Not human. Not VIRELIAN. Something else. Kira's eyes widened. "No," she said. "What?" She turned to Jaren. "They're coming." "Who?" Before she could answer, a massive roar echoed through the mountains. The ghosts turned. Weapons raised, but it was too late. Something slammed into the first soldier, a blur of claws and black armor. Blood sprayed. The second ghost tried to run, didn't make it 5 steps. The thing that attacked them stood tall, twice the height of a man, sharp metal over bone. "Eyes like molten lava," Jaren whispered. "What is that?" Kira didn't answer, because she didn't know. The creature looked at them. Then walked away, disappearing into the fog like it had never been there. Silence returned. 5 ghosts lay dead. 1 body was missing. Jaren fell to the ground, holding his back. Kira helped him sit against a tree. What the hell just saved us? He asked. She shook her head slowly. Something worse than ghosts. Later that night, they reached the abandoned Cums Tower. It still stood, though half-broken. Inside, Kira worked fast. She linked her tablet to the tower's core. If she could access the satellite code, she could wipe Jaren's tracking ID. But the system was protected by old human command encryption. I need your clearance code, she said. Jaren hesitated. If I give you that, you could destroy everything. She looked at him. And if you don't, they'll find you again. He sighed. Then spoke the code slowly. Alpha 7 Delta 40. She typed it in. The screen blinked. Access granted. She ran the purge. The system wiped Jaren's ID from the network. No one will track you now, she said. Jaren smiled weakly. Then let's disappear. She nodded. But just before they left, Kira stopped. Wait, she said. She connected a message to the satellite. Encrypted. Short. 1 line. Sent to a Varelian secure frequency. Jaren looked at her. What did you send? She stared at the screen. Just 1 word. I'm alive. Far away, in Varelian space. The message reached a hidden listening post. A female officer read it. Her eyes filled with shock. Then fear. She whispered, Kira. She turned to her captain. We have a problem. Back on the planet, Kira, and Jaren left the tower. They headed east, toward an old smuggler's landing site. Maybe there they could steal a small ship and leave this world behind. But something had changed. They weren't just running now. They were planning. Fighting back. High above, General Krail received the Ghost Squad report. Team destroyed. Signal lost. His face turned red with anger. Now it's war, he said. He pressed a button on his screen. A new face appeared. A woman with sharp eyes. A bounty hunter. Find them, Krail said. I don't care what it costs. The woman smiled. I always collect. But even she didn't know. She wasn't hunting a soldier and an alien anymore. She was chasing a pair. Who had nothing left to lose. The moon was a pale light above the mountains. The cold wind whispered secrets through the broken trees. Captain Jaren limped ahead, clutching his side. His breath came in slow, sharp gasps. Kira stayed close, her hand steady on his shoulder. They had barely escaped the Ghost Squad, and whatever monstrous creature had attacked it. But now, their problems had only grown bigger. Every step forward felt heavier. The past was chasing them. As they moved through the dark forest, distant sounds of alien engines echoed in the night. Kira's sharp ears caught every noise, every shift in the wind. We're not alone, she whispered. Jaren nodded. They're hunting us. Both sides. Kira looked at him, her violet eyes shining with something new, fear mixed with determination. We need shelter, she said. Where? Jaren asked. She hesitated. There is a place, she said. Old Varelian base. Hidden. Abandoned for years. Jaren frowned. Is it safe? Safe? No, but it's the only option. They reached the outskirts of the base at dawn. The entrance was covered in vines and rust. The air smelled stale, like forgotten memories. Inside, the base was dark and cold. Broken machines lay scattered. Flickering lights hummed faintly. They moved carefully, watching every corner. Suddenly, a shadow moved. Jaren raised his rifle. Stop! A voice ordered in Varelian. A group of soldiers appeared, 4 young Varelian warriors, armed and tense. Jaren and Kira froze. One soldier stepped forward, a woman, tall and proud. Kira Valtor, she said sharply. You're under arrest. For desertion and treason. Kira's eyes widened. Your orders are to bring her in. Dead or alive, the woman said. Jaren felt his heart race. They were outnumbered, But Kira stepped forward calmly. I did not desert. I'm here to stop the war. The soldiers laughed. Stop the war? The leaders sneered. You're a traitor. Jaren stepped between them. No one is killing her today, he said firmly. The soldiers aimed their weapons. Kira raised her hands. Wait, she looked at the leader. We don't have to fight. Then surrender. Jaren shook his head. Suddenly, the soldiers opened fire. The firefight was brutal and fast. Jaren and Kira dove behind broken crates. Shots echoed through the base. Jaren fired back, hitting one soldier's arm. Kira moved swiftly, taking down another with a stun grenade. But they were pinned. Suddenly, a loud crash came from above. A heavy shadow fell. It was the giant creature from the mountains. It smashed through the ceiling, roaring loudly. The soldiers panicked. Kira shouted, "Run!" Jaren grabbed her hand. Together, they escaped through a side tunnel. Outside, the air was fresh but tense. Jaren looked at Kira. Who sent them? She hesitated. My people, she said quietly. My own army. Jaren's eyes widened. Why? He asked. Because I betrayed them, she said. I saved you. I chose mercy. Jaren nodded slowly. I'm glad you did. They paused, listening to distant alarms and footsteps. We can't stay here, Jaren said. Kira nodded. We need a plan. They moved deeper into the forest, following old paths Kira remembered from childhood. She told Jaren stories of her homeworld. Varelians once lived in peace before war changed everything. Jaren listened, fascinated. I never knew, he said softly, that you had a life beyond the battlefield. Kira smiled faintly. We all do, even soldiers. That night, they camped near a river. Jaren cleaned his wounds while Kira kept watch. The fire flickered. Jaren looked at her. Why? Did you save me again? She looked into the flames. Because I saw something in you, she said. Something different. What? Mercy, hope, a chance for something better, Jaren smiled. Then we fight for that. Suddenly, distant footsteps approached. Jaren grabbed his rifle. Kira stood silently. From the shadows, a figure emerged. A young human soldier. He looked tired and scared. Wait, he said. I'm not here to fight. Jaren lowered his weapon slowly. The soldier stepped closer. My name is Eric, he said. I've been sent to find you, but I don't want to kill. I want peace. Kira looked surprised. Why? Jaren asked. Eric sighed. Because this war is wrong. It's killing us all. Eric joined them by the fire. He told them stories of soldiers tired of endless battles, questioning orders, hoping for peace. Jaren and Kira listened. For the first time, they felt they were not alone. Hope flickered in the darkness. But the night was not safe. Suddenly, a burst of gunfire shattered the quiet. Eric shouted, They found us! Jaren grabbed his rifle. Kira stood ready. More soldiers appeared, human commandos, sent to capture or kill. The battle was fierce. Eric fought bravely beside them. Jaren covered Kira. Together, they held their ground. When the fighting ended, only a few soldiers remained. Jaren and Kira were wounded but alive. Eric looked at them. We can't run forever, he said. No, Jaren agreed. But we can fight smarter. Kira nodded. We must show both sides that war is not the answer. Eric looked determined. I'm with you. The three of them made a pact. To fight for mercy. To fight for peace. To fight for a future without endless war. Above them, stars shone cold but bright. The battle was far from over, but in the quiet moments between gunfire, a new hope was born. The wind blew cold through the ruined streets. Captain, Jaren, Kira, and Eric moved carefully through the empty city. Shadows of broken buildings stretched like ghosts in the fading sunlight. The air smelled of ash and old fire memories of destruction that refused to die. They had reached the place where history burned. A city once vibrant, now a graveyard. This was your home? Jaren asked quietly. Kira nodded. She stared at the blackened ruins. "This city, it was beautiful," she said. "Before the war." Eric walked beside her, eyes scanning the wreckage. "Who did this?" he asked. Kira's voice trembled. "My people." Jaren looked shocked. "How could you do this to your own cities?" Kira's face was hard. "We didn't want to. But war changes everything." She pointed to a crumbled wall. "That was the marketplace. My mother bought food there every day." Eric touched a broken statue. "This is awful." Jaren felt anger rising. "We need to find shelter before dark." They moved slowly, every step echoing through empty streets. Suddenly, a soft sound reached their ears, a whisper of movement. They froze. Jaren raised his rifle. Kira scanned the shadows. From behind a broken building, a figure appeared, a small child, dirty and scared. She looked at them with wide eyes. Kira's expression softened. "It's okay," she said gently. The child stepped forward slowly. "My name is Lena," she said. Eric smiled. "We're here to help." Lena led them to a hidden shelter beneath the city. Inside, they found more survivors, old men, women, and children hiding from the war. The room was cramped but warm. Lena's grandmother greeted them with tired eyes. "We don't get many visitors," she said softly. Jaren looked around. "This place needs protection." Kira nodded. "We will help." That night, they shared stories and food. Kira told them about the war before it tore everything apart. Jaren and Eric listened, understanding the pain behind each word. The survivors spoke of lost homes and broken families. A heavy silence fell over the group. The next day, Jaren trained the survivors to defend themselves. He showed them how to set traps and use old weapons found in the ruins. Kira helped, teaching them about Varelian tactics. Eric repaired broken communication devices. Together, they prepared for the worst, but danger was never far. One evening, distant explosions shook the ground. Smoke rose in the horizon. "We're not alone," Eric said. Kira's eyes narrowed. "The war is coming." Jaren checked his rifle. "We will fight." As night fell, shadows moved outside the shelter. A group of soldiers approached the enemy. The survivors readied their weapons. Jaren led the defense. The battle was fierce. Bullets flew. Grenades exploded, and screams filled the air. Despite their courage, the enemy was stronger. One by one, the survivors fell. Jaren fought with fury, protecting Kira and Eric, but he knew they couldn't hold forever. Suddenly, a bright light blinded everyone. A ship descended from the sky, landing nearby. From it stepped a group of soldiers in shining armor. They were not human, nor Varelian. The new soldiers moved quickly, pushing back the attackers. Their weapons fired powerful energy blasts, forcing the enemy to retreat. Jaren stared in shock. "Who are they?" he asked. Kira's eyes widened. "They're the Orans." The Orans were a legendary species, ancient warriors, known for their peacekeeping and power. They had stayed away from this war. Until now. The leader of the Orans approached. "We received your distress signal," he said. "We are here to help." The survivors cheered softly. Hope returned like a rising sun. Kira and Eric looked at each other. The war had changed, but the fight for peace was just beginning. The Oran ship's engines hummed softly as it floated above the ruined city. Inside the command room, Captain Jaren, Kira, and Eric stood facing the Oran leader, a tall figure with glowing eyes and calm presence. "This war has lasted too long," the Oran said quietly, "and there is something you all must know." Jaren exchanged a look with Kira and Eric. The tension was thick. "What secret?" Jaren asked. The Oran's voice lowered. "The war you fight is not what it seems," Kira frowned. "What do you mean?" The Oran gestured to a large screen. Images flickered, old data, forgotten files, and maps. "Centuries ago, your two species were once allies. You fought together against a common enemy. But something happened. A betrayal that changed everything. Eric's brow furrowed. Who betrayed whom? The Oran's eyes glowed brighter. Neither side is innocent. But the real enemy was hidden in the shadows, manipulating both of you. Jaren stepped forward. What enemy? The screen changed, showing a shadowy figure with strange technology, controlling battles from afar. The Zarthak, the Oran said. An ancient race that feeds on war and chaos. They planted lies and fueled hatred between your species. Kira's hands trembled. All these years we were pawns? Yes, the Oran replied. Your leaders were deceived. Your people suffered. Jaren's voice was low. Then why didn't anyone stop it? Because the Zarthak's power is great. They control many systems. Even some in your own governments are under their influence. Eric shook his head. This changes everything, the Oran nodded. It does, and now that you know, you must choose. Continue this endless war, or unite and fight the true enemy. Outside, the city lay silent. But inside the minds of these three, a storm brewed. Kira looked at Jaren. Can we trust this? Jaren sighed. We don't have a choice. If this is true, we must act. Eric agreed. We have to stop the Zarthak. The Oran leader handed them a data device. This contains proof and locations. Use it wisely. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Jaren grabbed his rifle. What now? A young Oran soldier rushed in. Enemy ships approaching. Zarthak forces. Kira's eyes flashed. They found us. The Oran leader said calmly, prepare for battle. The ship shook violently as Zarthak fighters attacked. Jaren, Kira, and Eric helped the Oran crew defend the ship. Laser blasts and explosions lit the dark space outside. Jaren fired at enemy ships, feeling the weight of this new war. We fight for the future, he said. Voice steady. Kira nodded. For peace and truth. The battle ended, but the danger remained. The Oran leader looked at the three. Your journey has just begun. Jaren, Kira, and Eric exchanged determined glances. Together, they would face the shadows that had ruled their lives. The stars above were calm, but everyone knew what was coming. Deep in space, the human battleship Oblivion Hammer floated side by side with the massive Oran dreadnought Varel's Heart. Inside both ships, crews worked without rest. Time was short. Captain Jaren stood on the bridge, staring at the map in front of him. The Zarthak fleet was moving fast, 10 times bigger than any force he'd seen before. They're heading straight for Earth, said Kira, standing beside him. Her voice tense. And not just Earth, Eric added. They'll burn every world between us and them. Jaren clenched his jaw. Then we stop them here. A message came through. The Oran leader's face appeared on the screen. It's time. Our fleets are ready. Jaren nodded. Let's end this. The last plan in the war room. Both human and Oran commanders stood around a large hologram. It showed the Zarthak Armada, a dark storm of ships and weapons moving like a plague. They have more firepower, more ships and faster tech, Eric said. But we have something they don't, Kira said. Unity. The Oran leader explained. The plan, we attack their center. Their command ship controls their eye swarm. If we destroy it, the rest will fall into confusion, Jaren frowned. It's suicide. That ship is protected by hundreds of escorts. The Oran nodded. That's why you'll need a distraction. We can give you that, Eric said. But someone has to sneak into their flagship and blow it from the inside. Everyone turned to Jaren. I'll do it, he said without hesitation. Kira stepped forward. We go together, Jaren looked at her. No, I need you here commanding the hammer. Kira held his gaze. We started this together, he paused. Then we end it together. The battle begins. The darkness of space suddenly lit up as hundreds of engines flared. Human and Oran ships jumped into position. Ahead of them, the Zarthak armada loomed like a black wall. The radio crackled. Enemy fleet in sight. Kira stood on the bridge of Oblivion Hammer. Weapons ready. All ships, hold formation. The enemy opened fire first. Beams of red and blue energy sliced through space. Several ships exploded instantly. But the human and Oran fleets pushed forward, shields raised and weapons blazing. In the middle of chaos, Jaren's small stealth ship slipped through the cracks, heading straight for the Zarthak command vessel. Inside it, Jaren and Kira moved silently. Their armor was black, their weapons silent. Every second, they were closer. To death. Inside the beast, the Zarthak command ship was alive. Its walls pulsed with dark energy. Its halls were filled with whispers, electronic signals, and voices that were not human. This place feels wrong, Kira said, her gun raised. Jaren checked the map. Main core is 300 meters ahead. Keep moving. Strange alien guards patrolled the halls. Jaren and Kira moved like shadows, taking them down silently one by one. At last, they reached the core chamber. A massive machine floated in the center, surrounded by strange glowing symbols. This is it, Jaren said. He pulled out the device the Oran leader gave him, a virus bomb designed to destroy the AI core from inside. But just as he activated it, a loud growl filled the chamber. A massive Zarthak warrior dropped from above, standing 8 feet tall, with armor like dark stone and eyes burning red. Kira fired first. The beast didn't flinch. Jaren ran toward the core while Kira kept the monster busy. "Go!" she shouted. "I'll hold it." Jaren reached the core, planted the bomb, and turned to help. The Zarthak beast slammed Kira against a wall. Her armor cracked. Jaren tackled the creature from behind, stabbing it in the neck. It roared and threw him across the room. The countdown had begun. 30 seconds. He shouted. Kira, bleeding and hurt, pulled herself up. She looked at the beast, then at Jaren. "Get out," she said. "No." Jaren yelled. She smiled weakly. "I'll see you on the other side." She ran at the creature with a final scream, pulling out her last grenade. The chamber exploded. The shockwave and the Oblivion Hammer, Eric saw it first. Their flagship, it's exploding. All across space, Zarthak ships began to lose control. Some flew in circles. Others stopped firing. A few crashed into each other. Kira's voice didn't come through the radio. Neither did Jaren's. Eric whispered, "They did it." The Oran leader's voice came through next. "All ships push forward." The human and Oran fleets rushed through the broken enemy lines. For the first time, the Zarthak were running. Minutes later, it was over. After the war, Earth was safe. The Oran homeworld was free. The Zarthak were broken, but the cost had been high. Eric stood at the ruins of the old command base, holding 2 medals in his hand. He placed them on the wall beneath pictures of Jaren and Kira. "They saved all of us," he whispered. The Oran leader stood beside him. "They gave us hope." Together, they watched as a new banner was raised, one that showed both the human eagle and the Oran star. Enemies once, now brothers. The end.